We'll do it when he gets here. We'll walk in, needs handed to him, and he'll read it in. I'll go straight from.
Are you ready, Mr. President?
Yeah. Hicks, can you approach the desk? Hicks, can you approach the desk?
Roll call for day 35. Wednesday, March 1st. Anderson. Here. Baldwin. Here. Barlow. Here. Beitman. Here. Boner. Here. Bouchard. Here. Brennan. Here. Case. Here, present. Cooper. Dockstetter. Here. Ellis. Present. French. Here. Murphy. Here. Guru. Here. Hicks. Here. Hutchings. Here. Ide. Here. Jones. Here. Kinski. Excused. Cole. Present. Landon. Here. Larson. Here. McEwen. Nethercott. Here. Pappas. Here. Rothfuss. Here. Salazar. Here. Schuler. Here. Scott. Scott. Here. Steinmetz. Here. McEwen. Excused, Mr. President.
Excused.
Excused. President Driscoll.
Here.
Mr. President, 29 present, 2 excused.
There's McEwen present. Prayer by Rabbi Moshe Haflin, Mount Sinai Synagogue. We are.
I thought they were going to play first.
We can do it that way. Would you like
No,
to wait?
no. Okay, I just want to keep everybody standing. I hope you've enjoyed my little teachings. Today, the reading comes from a collection from what I mentioned yesterday, the Mishnah, that law book of the 2nd century. And it's called The Ethics of the Fathers, or the Sayings of the Fathers. These were the sayings collected of different rabbis of that time. And these are short, pithy kind of statements. So this one is by Rabbi Hillel, who you may have heard of, who was a contemporary of Jesus as well. And he would always, I'll do this in Hebrew actually. Im enani li mili, ve'im uchsha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani, ve'im lo achshad ematai. He used to say, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? I hope that inspires your work, you know. If I'm not for myself, you know, who's going to take care of me if not myself? But if I'm only for me, you know, then that's not right. And if not now, when? So I hope that inspires your day. Thank you.
Rabbi, thank you.
Yeah.
Bad news. Pledge of allegiance. Senator Larson. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we've gone from cheerleaders to a chamber orchestra today. This is going to be really, really special. This morning we got a special performance by Laramie High School's Chamber Orchestra. The group will be playing 3 pieces, Shady Grove and Tiny Swallow by Gwyneth Walker, and Red Lodge Reel by Peter Ostrowko, former music director of Prairie Home Companion, arranged by Bob Phillips. They're directed by Jennifer Lyford. Village senators, please help me welcome these talented students to the Senate. Hear, hear.
first piece was Shady Grove. It's based on an Appalachian folk tune. The second one is Tiny Swallow. It's also based on a folk tune. Come all ye fair and tender ladies. And I hope that it gives you some images of spring, as we know that it's going to be a long time before we see the real spring. You may hear some bird calling. You might want to close your eyes and just picture yourself in a shady grove listening to birds on a beautiful spring day. These two pieces were from a group of pieces by Gwyneth Walker, who is an American composer. Would you like me to? I hate microphones. American composer, a living American composer. She lives in Vermont, and she's a very well-known and respected composer. And the next piece is also an American piece. It was written by a former writer for the musician for A Prairie Home Companion. And it was written for Red Lodge, Montana, which is close enough to us. I think you will enjoy it. It's a fun, real, nice and fast foot stomping. One last one for you. I figured.
Huge, huge thank you. Got another one?
So, you guys have work to do, I think? No. Okay, I'm going to talk just a little bit instead. I will brag on my students instead. How about that? So they just had a concert last night, and they immediately came back this morning in their dress that they are in today to come here. These two pieces, they did not even play on their concert last night. They had to get this prepared as well as small chamber ensemble music. 4 of these students went to Seattle, Washington for All Northwest in February. Please raise your hand if you went to All Northwest or were accepted. Those are the best musicians in the band, orchestra, and choirs from 5 states. So Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. And we also had many of these members went to All State that was held in Sheridan this year. Raise your hand if you went to All State Orchestra. And I might also mention that these students are also mostly straight A students. Most of them are college bound. Some of them are freshmen, some of them are sophomores, juniors, seniors, and many of them are athletes, and just all around really great kids. So congratulations, Wyoming, right? That's what you get.
Many thanks, a highlight of the day.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Do we have our interns here, or are they across? Senator Bouchard, do you need the floor?
Yes, Mr. President, can I have privilege of the floor?
Granted.
We have the wonderful students from Burns Elementary School and their wonderful teacher, Christina Patterson, visiting us right up here. I'd like to give them a warm welcome to the Senate.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Today in Wyoming history, President Ulysses Grant signs the act establishing Yellowstone National Park. Quote for the day: as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter works, but to live by them. John F. Kennedy. Today's last day for third reading in the second house, and we'll vote on the governor appointments today. Reading, correction, approval of the journal.
Mr. President, your Journal Committee reports that the Journal of February 28, 2023 has been read and recommends that it be approved. Senator Larson, Chairman.
Are there any objections? Being none, the report is adopted. Signing enrolled acts. Senate Enrolled Act 76, originally Senate File 131.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 76, being original Senate File 131, an act relating to elections prohibiting a person from distributing unsolicited absentee ballot request forms to any qualified elector.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act Number 76, originally Senate File 131. I have so signed. Kudos to Senator Hutchings. Let's give her a round of applause for her bill, folks. Senate Enrolled Act 77, originally Senate File 83.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 77, being original Senate File 83, an act relating to K-12 school faculty facility leasing, modifying leasing agreements.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act 77, originally being Senate File 83. I have so signed. Thank you, Senator Rothfuss. All right. Senate Enrolled Act 78, originally Senate File 80.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 78, being original Senate File 80, an act relating to public health and safety, establishing visitation rights and limitations for specified healthcare facilities.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act Number 78, originally being Senate File 80. I have so signed. Senate Enrolled Act Number 79, originally Senate File 61.
Senate Enrolled Act Number 79, being original Senate File 61, an act relating to per diem rates, increasing the statutory per diem rate for specified legislative activities.
I'm about to sign Senate Enrolled Act Number 79, originally Senate File 61. I have so signed. House of Representatives Enrolled Act Number 78, originally House Bill 185.
House Enrolled Act Number 78, being original House Bill 185, an act relating to local government funding, increasing a prior appropriation.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act Number 78, originally being House Bill 185. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act Number 77, originally House Bill 123.
House Enrolled Act Number 77, being original House Bill 123, an act relating to game and fish, requiring the Game and Fish Commission to promulgate rules to establish seasons for the collection of antlers and horns.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act Number 77, originally House Bill 123. I have so signed. House Enrolled Act Number 79, originally being House Bill 209.
House Enrolled Act Number 79, being original House Bill 209, an act relating to education, amending the date of transfers from the Hathaway Scholarship Expenditure Account to the Hathaway Student Scholarship Reserve Account.
I'm about to sign House Enrolled Act number 79, originally being House Bill 209. I have so signed. Okay, we've got the interns here. Come on up front up here, looks like. Oh, these aren't. Whoa, what do we got? Yeah. Senator Anderson.
The privilege of the floor.
Granted.
We have the Boy Scouts from around the state that have achieved their Eagle Scout Award. So I want to introduce them, and they'll come in one at a time. Eric Thompson out of Gillette. Dylan Blackader from Cheyenne. Corbin Susky from Cheyenne. And Oscar Osmond from Cheyenne. And Senator Pappas from Cheyenne. Oh, yeah. So they've achieved their Eagle Scout Award, and they're visiting the Capitol today. They just came from the governor's office, and they have an entourage with them. Thank you.
Congratulations. That's a high honor. Senator Anderson, were you an Eagle Scout?
No.
Were you a Boy Scout?
Boy.
All right. Very good. Okay, we do have the interns here. Okay, let's bring them. We'll do the interns. Get ready. Members of the Senate, each year the Wyoming Legislature sponsors a legislative internship program which allows students enrolled in an institution of higher education to attain credit along with unique insight into the legislative branch of government and its vital responsibility in creating public policy. High school interns who are sponsored by individual legislators are also an important part of the program and typically serve for 2 weeks during the session. Intern coordinator Lavonda Kopska joins us along with some of the interns. Lavonda, please say a few words about the program, and then we would like each intern to introduce themselves and share with us where they are from and future career plans. Please help me welcome Lavonda and these students to the Senate. Okay, members, Lavonda's grabbing her stuff. We'll have the students one at a time step up here and we'll say where you're from and what your career plans are. We'll do that while we're. Got one more coming in. And we got Lavonda here. We'll put you at the end.
So I will just say that I am very excited to be here.
It's on.
And
Pull it
should be
down.
on, okay. Thanks to you, we have had one of the very best intern groups ever. They are just so wonderful. They have worked together, encouraged each other, and really been a part of watching out for each other and helping each other learn. So for those of you that don't know, part of the process that the interns go through is learning about the executive and the judicial branch as well as the legislative, obviously. So we have been to visit the governor, the first lady, secretary of state, auditor, treasurer, superintendent of public instruction. We just got back this morning from the Supreme Court where we were able to chat with Justice Baumgarten. We have met with leadership from the Senate and the House on both parties. We have been able to meet with the congressional delegates. Just a lot of really interesting opportunities for the kids, as well as some policy advisors from the governor's office. Kate Barlow came in and chatted with us about her experiences working as an intern in DC. Just so a lot of different things that they have been able to do. And so I just want to thank you for the opportunity that they have had. And I think, President Driscoll, did you ask them to say their names and introduce themselves? Okay, so
Waiting for you to come, and
I,
so we're gonna
I
have-
was just going to let them do that. So I will go ahead and have Ally start.
Hi, I'm Allie Van Wy. I am from Chugwater, Wyoming. I am a senior at Chugwater High School. I'm interning under Representative Olson, and my goals for next year are to go over to the University of Wyoming pursuing an ag business degree and work towards my law degree.
Hi there, my name is Cole Castle. I'm a senior at the University of Wyoming, and I plan on pursuing a law degree.
Hi, my name is Jovan Tripkovic, and I work as a legislative aide to Senator Salazar. I'm a grad student at the University of Wyoming, and I plan to go to law school next fall.
Good morning, I'm Lily McNally. I'm a student at LCCC, and I'm going to be pursuing a degree in pre-law.
Hello, my name is Gregory Fornstrom. I am a junior at the University of Wyoming, majoring in political science, and the career I hope to attain in the future is one as a legislative aide, so this has all been perfect practice. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Liberty Zavorka. I'm from Torrington, Wyoming. I currently go to Eastern Wyoming College majoring in social sciences, but I hope to transfer to the university next year to pursue international studies.
I'm Katu Egum. I'm a senior at East here in Cheyenne, and I'm an intern for Representative Brown over in the House. I'm going to go to the University of Florida next year and major in marketing.
Hi there, I'm Jenna Broomfield. I'm also a senior at East High School, which is the best high school in Cheyenne. Yeah, that's what I thought. I plan on going to the University of Alabama to pursue a pre-law degree or be a stay-at-home mom. I'm really okay with either, but yeah.
Good morning, my name is Jonathan Brown. Currently, I'm a sophomore at the University of Wyoming studying political science with the hopes of going to law school.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sophia Gomelski. I'm a senior at Laramie High School, and I'm here with Senator Chris Rothfuss. And then when I go to UW, I'm going to be majoring in political science and international studies on the pre-law track.
Well, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And I just want to let you know that our college interns have put in over 700 hours of time on the Capitol, on site here, and that doesn't include all of the driving that they have done in this really nasty winter this year. So I think it's quite an accomplishment for them, and I just have really enjoyed working with them.
A huge thank you to all of you for all you've done for us. Really.
Thank you so much.
Lavonda, can you tell us how many years you've been, Lavonda, how many years have you been doing this? How many years have you been doing this?
So this is my 20th year to do that. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Majority Floor Leader Hicks, would you like to go to concurrences or to confirmations? Okay.
Mr. President, why don't we do some concurrences right now?
Okay, we have to read in House messages and then we'll go right to concurrences.
All right.
Messages from the House.
From the House of Representatives, February 28, 2023. Message number 476. Mr. President, the Senate file 146, state-funded capital construction, passed on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 38, noes 24. The House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting amendments. Message number 477. Mr. President, Senate File 174, Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board, passed the House on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 54, noes 8. The House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting amendments. Message number 479. Senate Joint Resolution 3, Property Tax Exemption for the Elderly and Infirm, passed the House on third reading in an amended form. Ayes 53, noes 9. The House respectfully asks the Senate to concur by adopting amendments. Message number 478. Mr. President, the House did concur on Senate amendments to House Bill 17, State Lands Grazing of Non-Owned Livestock. Ayes 57, noes 5. Message number 480. Mr. President, House did concur on Senate amendments to House Bill 74, Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Trust Fund. Ayes 57, noes 5. Message number 482. Mr. President, the House appointed conferees to meet with the Light Committee number 1 from the Senate on amendments to Senate File 96. House conferees are Representative Larson, Chairman, Representative Crago, and Representative Walters. Signed, Katie Talbot, House Chief Clerk.
Thank you. Senator Kinski, are you ready on message 476 on Senate File 146?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, I am.
We have it read in, please.
Message number 476, referencing Senate File 146, state-funded capital construction.
Senator Kinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. I bring you message 476, a concurrence request from the House on Senate File 0146. And I would move to concur and would ask for an aye vote. So this was a long deliberation with our House colleagues and with the University of Wyoming and with the Executive Office to get the CapCon to this point. And the big sticking point, as we knew it would be the University of Wyoming. So we've worked out something that I think is an accommodation that will do a couple of things. One, it will get 3 projects that we've been hearing about, at least since in the 9 years I've been here, underway. 2, it strikes a deal that says no new projects until you get these done, completed, occupied, in use, which probably means somewhere 5, 6 years, I would guess, because the one is still not even be done planned and they're going into replanning. As part of that, our House colleagues agreed to back out of the CapCon some earmarks that were the subject of quite a bit of discussion on this floor. Initially, they added back in an ice rink. Initially, they added back in a rehabilitation of an historic building in an historic coal mining community, that sort of thing. Those are all stripped out. That was part of the discussion. Let's just get rid of all that other stuff and focus on putting the University of Wyoming to bed. So what's left is this. This was suggested actually by the state auditor. And that's to cash flow the construction of these projects over a period of years. So the way that works is essentially the way it worked for the remodel of the Capitol and the Herschler building. There's an authorization for the total cost so that you can sign a construction contract. But then you give some cash up front and then borrowing authority if they need it. And then over a period of subsequent budgets, you give them the balance of the cash and retire that debt if that is needed to be done. So it's a good solution because then if they come back in and say, oh, by the way, there's another project, you say, well, wait a minute, you haven't retired the debt on the current projects. You know, you still have a note outstanding. So that's the way that the Capitol was done. So it came together, I think, with the suggestion of the state auditor and then some assistance from the governor's office, principally a gentleman who used to be on this floor. And so let me kind of walk you through it. On page 2, down towards the bottom above where it says University of Wyoming 2023 Capital Projects Account, everything above that is gone. That's the ice rink and the historic building, those earmarks, that's all gone. So what remains is this. There's appropriated $120 million from the University of Wyoming 2023 Capital Projects Account, hereby created, to the university for the construction of the following projects: student housing project, west stands of the University of Wyoming, and the natatorium to replace or expand the Corbett Pool. Those three only. And again, like it or not, we've been hearing about these projects for at least the 9 years that I've been here, and I think there's some folks that have been here longer that have been hearing about these projects. Time to just put it behind us, but without other projects continually piling on top of them. Page 3. The state treasurer and the state auditor shall utilize interfund loans from the LSRA for deposit to the University of Wyoming projects account as necessary to meet appropriations from the account and contract obligations of the university incurred for purpose of this section. No loan shall be made after completion of the project. So what this is saying is, and then let's go on down to C. The state treasurer, after consultation with state auditor, shall include an appropriation request in each biennial budget and supplemental budget request in an amount equal to the lesser of $40 million or the outstanding loan balance until all loans from the LISRA are repaid. In no event shall the total appropriation request of this subsection exceed $75 million. So it says we're authorizing 120 for all of the projects. They still have to match 1-to-1 on the prior $55 million that we appropriated to them for these projects. That obligation remains in place. So it goes this way. Here's $45 million. First of all, here's the authorization to sign a construction contract on the dorms. You know you've got that fully covered. Here's $45 million. If you go through that before the next appropriation comes, you have to borrow the difference, and they undoubtedly will have to take out a loan. Then the next time we come back, we can appropriate up to $40 million to retire whatever loans are outstanding, and so on until all the projects are completed and all the debt is retired. Now, the other key, I think, is that you go down to the bottom of page 3, where it says page 25 after line 9 insert, and there's a little B. The University of Wyoming shall not engage in any new capital construction projects until the University of Wyoming construction projects supported by state appropriations provided in this act are completed, except for major maintenance projects, emergency projects, projects at the agricultural experiment stations, projects funded entirely by private funds, or projects related to research and instruction. There was one more amendment. The Senate was not comfortable just with the word completed.
Close to time, Senator Kinski. You're up.
Not comfortable with just the word completed. So if you turn over to page 4, we inserted a further definition of completed, and it's down towards the bottom. After the words are completed, you insert, and all buildings constructed are occupied or being used for their intended purpose. We didn't want to have an argument over you got a certificate of occupancy, but you're still a year away from being able to use the darn thing. So this is clear. The pool actually has to be done and people are swimming in it. The dorms have to be done, people are living in it. Thank you, Mr. President. On and for the concurrence, an aye vote is asked.
Thank you. Comments? Seeing none. Senator Case.
You know, the university's a big place. They have a lot of things going on. I wonder if this is too confining, and that you never know how construction projects go, you guys. It is, it's a really rough bind, and I just like some more discussion about this because, you know, we're talking about years of construction, Mr. President. We're talking about it, getting them completely finished and hoping there are no unknown problems. And yet the university is a big place with a lot of branches, a lot of places that need to grow, a lot of needs. And I feel that this is overly constraining. I'd certainly like some reassurance, because it just feels to me that it's a bit too micromanagement from the legislature. And I do realize, sir, that construction and the university has been kind of an issue lately. But honestly, I think construction projects are best managed by over there than over here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Further comments? Further comments? See, Senator Hicks.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so if I can just address a little bit of my colleagues' concern, we're not managing the construction projects. That construction still is managed by the University of Wyoming. They have their whole construction division. This has nothing to do with managing construction. This is creating what we do is appropriate money and establish a budget so they can go ahead and do construction projects. It also leaves in there any unanticipated circumstances, emergency, for some of their other buildings scattered around the state. So I just want to make sure that the Senate knows we are not managing construction. This is a financing package that we put together so they can continue to construct. And it is the exact same type of financing package that we used when we did the $330 million capital restoration account, when we redid this entire building. So it's not unfamiliar the way we've done things in the past, but just make sure this is just about a financing package so they can do the construction, Mr. President.
Thank you. Senator Landon.
Mr. President, thank you. Just to carry on with the conversation a little bit about timing and restrictions, having served on that student housing task force on your behalf, I seem to recall that we were looking out at as much as 8 or 10 years that it's going to take to get all of that student housing completed. All kinds of issues underground over there with streets and so many issues that we dealt with, to try to pick a location and all this thing. So just to kind of answer that question from the back corner, it's going to be a while. I mean, it's going to take some time to get these student dorms constructed and occupied. It just takes time. So thank you, Mr. President.
Other comments? Seeing none. Senator Kinski for your second time.
Thank you. These are the numbers the university gave us. These are the projects they've identified as their top priorities. Again, the discussion has been between the university, the executive branch, the House, and the Senate to satisfy everybody. I would remind everybody we once lost a capital construction bill over the dispute about what is or is not happening at the university. So this is a good way to put it all to bed, make sure the university gets taken care of, and that these other concerns are addressed. I appreciate what my friend from Lander, his concerns. I would again point to page 3. The exceptions are major maintenance projects, emergency projects, projects at the ag experiment stations, projects funded by private funds, or projects related to research or instructional needs. So there's plenty of flexibility there in the event of need. The part of that discussion is I spent a lot of time with the university. I'm like you, I want to make sure that we're going to be able to get the housing done. I want to make sure that these are truly their priorities. And I went through a number of things. The university shared with me their policy and procedure for capital construction, the Lewis Street Master Plan. They even have a tree succession plan for the campus master plan, the historic preservation plan, current and recently completed capital construction projects. So they've given a great deal of thought to both the number they gave us and the projects that they gave us. The campus master plan looks out over, I think, decades. Some of the projects that we funded in the past come right out of this plan, and these projects come right out of this plan. These are the projects that are due. This is the number they gave us. I would urge an aye vote. Thank you, Mr. President.
Motion is that the Senate do concur on message 476 on Senate File 146 and vote aye. The chief clerk will call the roll.
Concurrence vote, Senate File 146, Anderson. Aye. Baldwin. Aye. Barlow. Aye. Beitman. No. Boner. No. Bouchard. No. Brennan. Aye. Case. No. Cooper. Aye. Dockstader. No. Ellis. No. French. No. Furphy. Aye. Guru. Aye. Hicks. Aye. Hutchings. No. Ide. No. Jones. Aye. Kinski.
Aye.
Aye. Cole. Aye. Landon. Aye. Larson. No. McEwen. No. Nethercott. Aye. Pappas. Aye. Rothfuss. Aye. Salazar. No. Schuler. Aye. Scott. Aye. Steinmetz. No. President Driscoll.
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 146, 18 aye, 13 no.
By your vote, you have concurred on message 476 on Senate File 146. Senator Rothfuss, can you come to the desk?
Senator Driscoll, are you ready with concurrence on Senate File 174?
I am.
Let's read it in.
Message number 477, referencing Senate File 174, Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask for concurrence on message 477 on Senate File 174.
Mr. President, move concurrence.
And move for concurrence. Thank you. Fellow senators, they took a great bill over there and they changed it. And we came up with a compromise that's not exactly what we wanted, but it's what we need. Like I said, we don't always get what we want, and this accomplishes the base part of the goal. I'd like to do a thank you for all of you that helped me on it, and also thank the other side for, could have easily been a dead bill. And folks, we've got a compromise here that works for all of us. So with that, you know, it gets our charter schools on down the road. Doesn't hit a home run over the fence, but it does what the Senate needed done, does what we need done in Wyoming. I would ask for your aye vote on concurrence.
Thank you, President Driscoll. Any discussion on Senate File 174? Senator Beitman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been trying to track this substitute bill into the engrossed version for about the last half hour. And I'm about to page 20 on the engrossed and 14 on the substitute bill. Can we have a little discussion on the amendment? As a co-sponsor with my name on this bill, I'd like to know what I'm voting on before we actually go ahead and approve what they've done here and make sure we got a good sense of what's going on here.
Thank you, Senator Beitman. Any other senator knowledgeable about the amendments? Senator Driscoll, I would suggest, Mr. President, that without objection, you suspend the rule to give yourself time to give a longer and more detailed answer if you'd like. Floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the latitude. To the question, you know, the bill does substantially what it did. We changed the authorizing board, the original bill. We changed the authorizing board. They went in and what we did was sat with our counterparts on the other side and changed how the authorizing board works. So now, I believe, and I'm going off memory on it without going to the bill, we have a representative from the University of Wyoming, a representative from state school boards, and 3 picks each from the governor's office and from the superintendent's office, which is, it's a workable deal. It's not exactly what we asked for, but that's, the authorizing board's one that everybody had a hard time with. One of the other key parts of the bill was that we had exempted charter schools from almost all education statutes. The way it works now is if you're a K-12 school, you have to go to and ask for an exemption from the state board, and they can either approve it or deny. We had set it up where they defaulted out that they didn't do it, but as part of their charter, they had to work it in. We went back. Charter schools are just like K-12. They're parity. Nothing wrong with that. I actually would like to see K-12 be exempted the same way we tried to do charter schools. I can tell you in the future, we'll be back to look at that. As you went through that, that's really the guts of what it did. The bill still does a vast majority of what it did. It was just minor tweaks on the thing, and really what we had was traditional K-12 wants charter schools to look a lot more like K-12 looks for everybody. That's really hard to argue with to some degree, folks. I think if we're gonna really move school choice over time, we need to do it. We'll be back with some more on this, but this is really a necessary part. We have 3 charters authorized in the state of Wyoming. That's one of the other things they gave is under the existing rules, if one of those 3 dropped out or lost their charter, they were gone. We'd lost them. What it says now is if one of those 3 drops out, we can take another application and do another one. We also agreed to a moratorium on charter schools for 5 years. They're going to allow 1 after 3 years that comes in. I can tell you there's a lot of people didn't like it. I was friendly to that. Interestingly enough, I want to see over the next 2 or 3 years how these 3 that we've authorized do. If they work, I can assure you I'll be back down here and we'll be asking for the moratorium to be lifted. Anything that we can put in the books, we can take out of the books. And you know, it's a bit of a safeguard to make sure that we're not running before we can walk. And you know, to me, I think the areas we went to were common sense. They allow charter schools to move forward in a positive way. So with that, I'd ask for your aye vote or answer another question if I've been given some latitude. Thank you.
Thank you, President Driscoll. And I would allow further questions, and we would give the sponsor one more chance to speak without objection, but are there any further? There is none. Question has been called. The motion is that the Senate do concur on Senate File 174, Wyoming Charter School Authorizing Board, and you have been asked to vote aye. Will the chief clerk please call the roll?
Concurrence roll call vote. Senate File 174. Anderson? No. Baldwin? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Beitman? Beitman? No. Boner? Aye. Bouchard? No. Brennan? Aye. Case? No. Cooper? Aye. Dockstetter? No. Ellis? Aye. French? No. Furphy? Aye. Baru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Kinski? Aye. Cole? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? No. McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? No. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Driscoll?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. Ellis? Aye to no. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. Senate File 174, 20 aye, 11 no.
By your vote, you have concurred on message 477 on Senate File 174. Senator Dockstader, are you ready on message number 479 on Senate Journal 3?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask that be laid back. We're still preparing some material to hand out on it. Thank you.
Without objection, no problem. Okay, I think, is that our concurrences? That's concurrences. So we're going to move on to appointments. We're at that order of business, Senate confirmation of appointments. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move the Senate resolve itself into open executive session.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Motion is approved. Will the reading clerk please read the entire list of nominees?
Aeronautics Commission, Sigsbee Duck, Bruce McCormick, Dean McLean. Agriculture Board, Mike Riley. Agriculture and Natural Resource Mediation Board, Mary Martin. Arts Council, Kevin Boyes, Ben Moritz, Robert Martinez. Barber Examiners Board, Richard Grauberger, Zoe Connard. Business Council, Alexander Klein, Eric Ahrens, Mark Law, Pamela Thayer, Charles Chuck Brown, Elaine Harvey. Children's Trust Fund Board, Marguerite Herman, Terry Dawson. Community College Commission, Greg Blickery, Micah Wyatt, Patricia Flynn Elliott, Natalia Macker. Community Development Authority, Pete Illoway. Cultural Trust Fund Board, Susan Stubson, Brian Beauvais, Nathan Dorr. Dental Examiners Board, Mark O'Farrell, Denise Prue Rasmussen, Rodney Hill. Education State Board, Reynolds R.J. Cost, Joseph Gaspari, Fred Von Ahrens Jr., Matthew Scott Crisp, Taylor Jacobs. Energy Resources Council, UW, Mark Dolder, Cindy Crane. Environmental Quality Council, Shane True, Ryan Green, Steve Lentz. Equalization Board, Martin Hartzog. Game and Fish Commission, Russell Rusty Bell, John Masterson. Gaming Commission, Richard Cura, Jenny Wildcat, Mark Francisco, Dennis Bowl, Dan Schiffer. Geological Survey Board, Lisa Lindeman, Fred David Searle. Industrial Siting Council, Jeffrey Wallace, Dustin Spomer, Kristen Lee. Judicial Conduct and Ethics, Karen Meister Emmerich, Ryan McConaughey. Nicholas Belak, Margaret Farley. Livestock Board, Weston Jones, Lexi Painter. Medicine Board, Melinda Poyer, Priscilla Dillon, Emily McGrady, Dr. Frederick Eric Cuban III. Mental Health Professions Licensing Board, Eric Schlitt, Kathleen Farstad. Mining Council, Philip Dillinger, Eric Fagley, Smokey Dinas. Occupational Health and Safety Commission, Chuck Dobkins, Peter Pericos, Judy Isley. Oil and Gas Conservation Commission, Jimmy Goolsby. Outfitters and Professional Guides, Lee Livingston, Ted Jenkins. Parks and Cultural Resources Commission, Leslie Stewart. Parole, Jeff Wasserberger. Pharmacy, Nathan Bailey. Psychology Board, Brad Dickey, Caitlin Pisher, Mark Holland, Teresa Humphreys Wadsworth. Public Service Commission, Michael Robinson. Real Estate Commission, Jezreel Lantham, Wendy Hauk. Retirement System Board, Paul O'Brien. Leslie Travers, Eric Nelson, Jeremy Smith, Jim Ruby. School Facilities Commission, Tom Ferens, Jackie Van Mark, Travis Conklin, Bruce Thoren. Tourism Board, John Johnson, Quentin Blair, Robert Bud Betts, Sharice Meadows Hawes. Transportation Commission, James Willix, Mike Baker. Unemployment Insurance Commission, Heather Schoening. UW Board of Trustees, David Fall, Kermit Brown, Laura Schmidt-Pizzato, Jim Mathis. Veterinary Medicine, Jennifer Gage, Ben Osborne. Water Development Commission, John Lawson, Mark Cott, Todd Hosey, Dennis Pence. Wildlife and Natural Resource Trust Account, Kathleen Haswell, Carol Pidge Fulton, J.T. Williams. Agency Directors, for State Engineer Brandon Gebhardt, State Inspector of Mines Heather Krupa, Office of Consumer Advocate Anthony Ornelas, Chief Information Officer Timothy Sheehan.
Mine's on now.
Mr. President, I move the adoption of the consent list, which consists of those that were just read in.
Does any member wish to remove any names from the consent list? Senator Larson.
Mr. President, I ask that Dustin Spomer, Industrial Siding Council, be removed from the list.
Without objection, so ordered. Senator Brennan.
I'd ask that Michael Robinson from the Public Service Commission be removed from the list.
Without objection, so ordered. Any others? We have had removals of Dustin Spomer and Michael Robinson. Chief Clerk will call the roll on the consent list.
On the governor's appointee consent list, Anderson? Aye. Baldwin? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Beitman? No. Boner? Aye. Bouchard? No. Brennan?
Aye.
Aye. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Ellis? Aye. French? French, no. Furphy? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? No. Ide? No. Jones? Aye. Kinski? Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Driscoll?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. French? No to aye. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. On the consent list of names, 27 aye, 4 no.
By your vote, the appointments on the consent list have been approved. Senator Brennan, Public Service Commission, Michael Robinson.
Yeah, I wanted to declare a conflict.
Conflict. What, excuse me? Roll call with conflict.
Public Service Commission confirmation vote, Michael Robinson. Anderson? Aye. Baldwin? Aye. Barlow? Aye. Beitman? Aye. Boner? Aye. Bouchard? Aye. Brennan? Conflict. Case? Aye. Cooper? Aye. Dockstetter? Aye. Ellis? Aye. French? No. Furphy? Aye. Guru? Aye. Hicks? Aye. Hutchings? Aye. Ide? Aye. Jones? Aye. Kinski? Aye. Kolb? Aye. Landon? Aye. Larson? Aye. McEwen? Aye. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? Aye. Schuler? Aye. Scott? Aye. Steinmetz? Aye. President Driscoll?
Aye.
Aye. Closing vote. French, no to aye. Closing. Vote closed. On the confirmation vote of Michael Robinson, Public Service Commission, 30 aye, 1 conflict.
By your vote, the appointment of Michael Robinson, Public Service Commission, has been approved. We are to Industrial Siding Council, Dustin Spomer, Senator Larson.
Mr. President, thank you. Senator French and I have concerns with this individual. We know other individuals in our area that can do a great job in this position who are more closely tied to our energy sector, which will benefit our state.
Further comments? Senator French.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask the body to please support Senator Larson and myself in this. We, like Senator Larson said, we know our community, and I ask that you respect our decision. It's just like the rest of you here. I would follow any of you that said, I object to so-and-so for whatever reason, because I don't know your communities. So I would respect your wisdom on that. Thank you.
Further comments? Seeing none, the chief clerk will call the roll.
Confirmation vote on Industrial Siting Council appointee Dustin Spomer. Anderson? No. Baldwin? No. Barlow? No. Beitman? No. Boner? No. Bouchard? No. Brennan? No. Case? Aye. Cooper? No. Dockstetter? No. Ellis? Aye. French? No. Furphy? No. Guru? Aye. Hicks? No. Hutchings? No. Ide? No. Jones? No. Kinski? No. Kolb? No. Landon? Aye. Larson? No. McEwen? No. Nethercott? Aye. Pappas? Aye. Rothfuss? Aye. Salazar? No. Schuler? No. Scott? No. Steinmetz? No. President Driscoll?
No.
No. Closing vote. Closing. Vote closed. On the appointment confirmation, 7 aye, 24 no.
By your vote, the Industrial Siting Council, Dustin Spomer, has not been approved by the Senate. Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move the Senate dissolve itself from open executive session.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. We will go to Rules Committee. We're going to go and stand at ease to the sound of the gavel. We'll go to Rules Committee, and then at 11:15, we will go downstairs, 11:20 for caucus. That suit you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader? Okay, so we'll stand at ease to the sound of the gavel. Rules Committee will go to my office. And we'll go from there to, what room are we going to? W, Ellen, do you know?
Mr. President, Mr. President, the Republicans will be caucusing at 11:20 in room 110. Mr. President, I move the Senate stand in recess until 2 p.m.
Announcements. Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a reminder to Labor and Health Committee, they need to get to me their list of priorities so I can formulate them with my co-chair down the hall.
Thank you. Senator Steinmetz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Your Joint Conference Committee on House Bill 93 Omnibus Water Construction and Senate File 96 Omnibus Planning and Administration will meet at 12:30 in room W113 with our House colleagues.
Thank you. Senator Case.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Your committee number 7 will be meeting with their House colleagues at 12:30 today in the connector room 5.
Thank you. Further announcements. Rules Committee will meet immediately upon recess. The Senate shall stand recessed until 2 p.m. Senator Hutchins, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, just real quickly, someone gave me a card saying there's going to be a breakfast from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. The group is Gardner Temple Outreach, so they're welcoming everyone to their breakfast. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, rules to my Boner. We're still, even though we're adjourned.
Okay, well, just a little announcement. Today, downstairs at 3 o'clock, the chief executive will be signing a proclamation recognizing hidden heroes. These are folks who take care of our military veterans, often in a home setting, so family members, things like that. We're recognizing those important individuals 3 o'clock this afternoon. If you have time, to come on down.
Thank you. Rules Committee to my office. We're lunch.